Good morning, everyone. Let's call this morning's meeting of the Municipal Financial Recovery. The hour of 8:30 has arrived. Receiver Lynch is out of town, so he has asked me to pinch hit for him this morning and convening the meeting. First order of business is are the minutes for the last meeting, the June 26th meeting. They were distributed earlier this week. I would ask if any of the members have any comments or questions relative to the minutes. If not, they stand approved as provided. I'd like to move to report of the Receiver's Office. The Office of the Receiver continues its work in implementing various operational and creditor debt resolution issues that are part of the confirmed plan. I'd like to specifically call attention to the fact that the quarterly report was completed the end of June and filed with Commonwealth Court on June the 28th. I believe that a link to copies was provided to members of the committee as well as city officials and the general public. The report is a comprehensive summary of all of the activities that have occurred during the past quarter. On other issues, personnel, the city continues to recruit for approximately 60 positions, many of which are public safety positions, 17 are fire positions, and for which applications are currently being accepted through July the 26th. Another 24 are police officer positions. Other positions include a budget manager, health officer, demolition specialist, 2 codes officers, a deputy economic development director, and a distribution supervisor, maintenance specialist, and operations manager. All 3 of those are in the Water Bureau. Since the last meeting, the Office of the Receiver has approved a Secretary 1 position in the Codes Bureau that occurred as a result of a promotion. 7 candidates also accepted offers of employment for police officer. 5 of those candidates successfully passed their physical and have been sworn in and are to start at the Police Academy at Hack this month. The Office of the Receiver continues to work with the city and Harrisburg Parking Authority to consider qualified personnel from HPA to fill critical city vacancies. Receiver's Office continues to devote significant effort in working with the city on various financial management issues. Trout, Ebersol, and Groff continues their work to prepare for the 2012 audit. With the vacancy of the budget manager, along with the extended medical leave of the purchasing director, the Bureau of Finance has had to do a little bit of reshuffling of personnel, and the accounting analyst has been reassigned to some of the budget manager responsibilities during the interim until this position is filled. Trout, Ebersol, and Groff has also been engaged to complete some additional audit prep work that originally was not anticipated in their scope of work, but rather was to be done by the accounting analyst and accounting manager, but due to the vacancy in the budget manager position, we've had to shuffle things around. And Bob Kroboth, I'd like to recognize your efforts in working with the very difficult personnel circumstances there, but continuing to keep on track. Trout Ebersol is still on board to complete their audit prep work by the middle of July, after which their work will be handed off to the city's certified public accountant, Meyer Dussel, to begin work on the 2012 audit itself. It is anticipated that the audit will be completed by mid-October, at which time the city's audits will be fully brought up to date. As a follow-up to the completion of the city's fleet operation review, the city has continued to move forward with the disposal of various equipment per the report's recommendation. And recently, the DPW director has developed a job description for a fleet manager consistent with the report's recommendations, and that recruitment effort is underway. 5 proposals were received in response to the RFP for sanitation services. Those came in last week. They are currently under review. The extension of the additional week in submitting the proposals provided time for the vendors to acquire the requisite bonds that were part of the RFP. It should not have the week's delay should not have an impact on our ability to implement the sanitation service contract in early 2014, assuming the bids pan out to be positive and in the city's best interest. Work also continues on the insurance RFP that consolidates insurance coverage. We're coordinating that process with the renewal schedules for insurance and anticipate that the new coverages will go into effect this fall. Work continues with the city on the initial stages of an update to the comprehensive plan and its integration with an economic development strategy and a housing strategy. There is a follow-up meeting with or conference call with the consultant anticipated for later this week to discuss further elements of that project. And negotiations are also continuing with the collective bargaining units. As we reported at the last meeting, the Fraternal Order of Police did approve the contract amendment at their a mid-June meeting, and active negotiations are underway with AFSCME. We're optimistic that that will be brought to conclusion in the very near term, and efforts to work with counsel for the firefighters have proven fruitful in establishing a bargaining session for them within the next week to 10 days based on correspondence as late as late yesterday. Cash flow issues. The Receiver's Office continues to monitor expenditures and the review of payables on a biweekly basis. Since the last meeting, we reviewed the July 3rd check run. It totaled $888,975, the largest expenses, again, being to the city treasurer for various insurances that represented 69% of the total. They included payments to Highmark Blue Cross, Express Scripts, for dental insurance, and a quarterly payment for workers' comp. The city's current cash position remains strong through the end of the first 6 months. A full 6-month summary should be available at the next meeting. The majority of the city's revenue is received during the first part of the year, especially real estate tax collections. The city has now been able to bring virtually all overdue payables into a current status. Payables currently on hold total approximately $3.4 million. Those over 90 days total approximately $2.7 million, with 99% represented by several large creditors that are involved with debt obligations. They include SunTrust, Metro Bank, and the Pennsylvania Infrastructure Bank, and negotiations with all of those entities are in play as part of the broader creditor negotiation process. City has also been working with PP&L to identify and resolve various PP&L accounts, which is the other large creditor, outstanding creditor. The city had a cash balance of approximately $5.9 million as of June 27th. Following the check run and estimated payroll of $1.1 million that occurred last week, the city had a cash balance of approximately $3.9 million available, which is about $1.3 million less than after the prior check run. The city's cash balance is now beginning to slowly erode and will need to be monitored closely as we move through the summer months to ensure the ability to meet critical obligations. We should, though, also be receiving payments on the increased earned income tax, as well as the normal distribution of the earned income tax, which will help cash flow as we move through the summer months. Asset monetization issues. Negotiations with the Lancaster County Solid Waste Management Authority have continued with the sale of the resource recovery facility. At this point, we don't have any real new updates. The power purchase agreement continues to move through the DGS process, and a term sheet has been prepared that is being reviewed by all parties. We did have a meeting last week with Laxwama to discuss issues related to the $8 million redevelopment capital assistance program grant, and have coordinated that effort with the Office of the Budget. Negotiations also continue with Harrisburg First, the selected party for the parking monetization. The term sheet has been prepared, reviewed, and revised by the Office of the Receiver's advisors and Harrisburg First, and is currently under review by the various creditors. The change in interest rates that have recently occurred in the broader marketplace have had some impact on this monetization, and we're continuing to monitor interest rate activities. Also working with Bond Counsel for PEDFA, the Pennsylvania Economic Development Financing Authority, to work through tax-related issues associated with the financing. The Office of Receivers also continued to work with the City, Harrisburg Authority, and surrounding municipalities on the creation of an operating authority for the water and sewer operation. This would transfer and consolidate the administrative, operational, and financial responsibilities for the water and sewer operation to an operating authority. It's an approach that would address the Clean Water Act and Chesapeake Bay requirements, and is something that is deemed positive by the Department of Justice, EPA, and DEP. And finally, we've continued our dialogue with Assured Guaranty Corporation as well as Dauphin County on the asset monetization process and other related issues as we work towards achieving a consensual resolution to the city's fiscal crisis. Any questions on that report? No. Okay, if we can turn to the city and Mr. Kroboth.
Good morning, Mr. Reddick, committee members. As I go through this report, I will avoid redundancy. Mr. Reddick thoroughly covers certain aspects of the report, so you have it, but I'll pass by a couple of the sections. Related directly to the financial recovery and plan implementation, Mr. Reddick did explain the progress being made on the sanitation RFP. I'd just like to elaborate a bit on that for the benefit of the rest of the committee members and the public. The process continues to go well. The public bid opening for the request for proposals for RFP number 11-2012 for the solid waste and recycling collection and disposal services was held Tuesday, July 2nd at 3 o'clock in the City Government Center. There were 5 bidders. The mayor has chosen an in-house RFP selection review committee to assess and grade the proposals with oversight by the receiver team. A draft RFP evaluation matrix has been created based in part on matrices previously created and utilized by the city for other RFP evaluations to evaluate critical RFP criteria using a weighted average grading approach for each of the criteria. The current plan is for the committee to recommend 3 semifinalists to the mayor for her review and consideration, with an interview and new grading process likely for all 3. The mayor would then likely choose the finalists with concurrence from the receiver. The mayor and receiver's finalist recommendation may then need to go before City Council if the mayor and receiver determine it is in the city's best interest to proceed to contract out these sanitation services rather than for the city to maintain them. The RFP Selection Review Committee is scheduled to meet to begin the review process formally on Tuesday, July 16th. It is anticipated the RFP documents will be distributed to the committee at that meeting, as well as the draft grading matrix, which will be further refined by the committee. Regarding the city's insurance brokerage RFP, and that's initiative number INRM02, the draft RFP for insurance brokerage services prepared for the upcoming premium years, all risk, health stop loss, and workers' compensation excess insurance renewals has been returned from the Law Bureau and Insurance and Risk Management staff following the review for substance and coverage information. The edits are expected to be made and final draft RFP distributed for approval by Friday, July 12th. Public issuance and advertisement of the RFP is anticipated on or about Thursday, July 18th. Regarding increased number of staff attorneys from 1 to 3, initiative LAW02, As previously reported, an offer of employment was made to a selected candidate for the position of Assistant City Solicitor. The start date is scheduled for July 15th, bringing the staff attorney complement to 3. As of July 15th, this initiative will have been completed. Regarding the implementation of vehicle replacement policy, initiative POL02, a police fleet survey was completed and the replacement plan incorporated into the budget development and grants writing processes. Marked patrol vehicles with more than 75,000 miles are the priority for replacement. 10 new patrol vehicles have been ordered with an estimated delivery date of late July. These vehicles and installation of police equipment are being funded via the 2012 local share gaming grant of $409,202 awarded by Dauphin County. This will complete this initiative. Regarding initiative BH06 for the filling of a vacant Department of Urban Development funded positions, a conditional offer of employment has been tendered to the successful candidate for the position of Rehabilitation Specialist 1, effective July 15th, and as of that date, this initiative will also be completed. Moving on to matters regarding financial management of the city. To add a bit to the Fred's report on the 2012 audit progress, the accounting firm of Trotter, Brissell and Groff actually completed their audit preparation field work on July 3rd. They're doing some fine-tuning back at the office, so we are anticipating the conclusion of their engagement on or about July 15th, as Fred reported, which means that we should be right on pace for Mardissel, the city's CPA auditing firm, to begin the 2012 audit field work on or about July 15th. As such, the administration anticipates publicly issuing the 2012 Comprehensive Annual Financial Report, or CAFR, as it is termed, and other related audit reports on or about October 15, 2013. We are currently on schedule to do so. I'm going to pass by the cash flow sections and the vendor payments. Fred very thoroughly covered that. Moving on to item 4, financial reporting and compliance. We are in compliance with the city's financial reporting obligations. No material events have occurred since the last advisory committee meeting necessitating the publication of a material event notice, or MEN, as the acronym stands for, on EMMA. However, a notice of non-filing of annual information as required will be filed on EMMA on or before July 12th due to the city's 2012 CAFR not being issued as of June 30th, 2013, or within 180 days following the end of the city's fiscal year, as required by certain of its bond indentures. This is not a material event notice. We knew this was coming. We were actually in compliance for a grand total of 6 weeks, but June 30th has now come and gone, so we are technically out of compliance, but so long as we've notified the bond market, we're fine. This then will be eliminated after the 2012 audit is issued on or about October 15th. Regarding budget management, the city has some exciting and very good news and indicative of the comeback, we believe, that we are orchestrating with the receiver team, of course. Thank you. The city received written notice from the Government Finance Officers Association, or GFOA as it's termed, of the United States and Canada on Friday, July 5th, that it had awarded the city its Distinguished Budget Presentation Award for the city's 2012 budget document. This award is the highest form of recognition in governmental budgeting and represents a significant achievement by our government. Preparations for the 2013 Government Finance Officers Association Distinguished Budget Presentation Award submission were restarted in June, as previously reported to the committee, after having to temporarily put the project on hold to focus on budget manager and purchasing functions transitional training. A second 30-day extension to apply for the award was granted by GFOA until August 1st. Successive 30-day extensions can be requested and granted based on circumstances. We have made significant progress and anticipate completing the project on or before August 1st. Preparations have begun to develop the city's 2013 mid-year fiscal report. The report is due to City Council by August 14th. And a final bullet under budget, it's important to note that the mayor has scheduled interviews with 2 budget manager position candidates for July 24th, I believe. Under purchasing management, One award letter and contract was completed, resulting from a bid process. And I need to continue to note that Yangxia Liu, our acting budget manager, our former staff accountant and financial analyst, as Fred alluded to, continues to do a great job of maintaining daily purchasing office functions as the current purchasing manager remains on extended medical leave. Under grants management, no grant applications were submitted this reporting period. The following, the grants that have been listed there have been completed and submitted. We still have not heard from either of the 6 grant results submissions to date. In summary, Mr. Chairman and committee, the city continues to make progress on the implementation of the financial recovery plan, preparation for the 2012 audit, and restabilization of the Bureau of Financial Management operations. That's my report, Mr. Reddick.
Thank you very much, and congratulations on the GFOA recognition.
Thank you very
for
much.
this
We're
year.
really proud of that. Thank you.
Any questions for Bob?
Yes, I do. Thank you. Hey, Bob, how you doing? Good morning. Who is the RFP Selection Review Committee? Who's on that particular committee to make that selection?
The mayor appointed the Public Works Director and the Business Administrator, Chief of Staff, and the Finance Director.
Okay. Non-compliance, you said we're in non-compliance as of June 30th. Is there extension being given to us regarding that?
No. With the city, as you know, as council president, the city guarantees or various bond issues or has its own bond issues. And depending upon the trust indentures, there are certain continuing disclosure requirements within the trust indentures.
I understand that.
The majority of our trust indentures stipulate 270 days, which would have been September 30th, but there are a couple or a few of the debts that we guarantee, the more of the later issues, that indicate a June 30th or 180 day. Since we weren't able to complete our 2012 audit and file our CAFR on Emma by June 30th, we have a continuing disclosure requirement pursuant to the SEC regulations to let the bond market know that, you know, we're in process, it's late, and it's going to be issued on or about mid-October. So we're fine. We're in compliance so long as we disclose the information I just discussed with you.
Okay, thank you.
You're
That's all
welcome.
the question I have.
Okay. Any other questions? All right.
Excuse me,
sorry.
I'm sorry. Just one quick question, and it actually might be a better question for Fred, I don't know. With the passage of the Commonwealth General Fund budget here in the last week and a half, is there anything material out of the Commonwealth budget that affects the city that we need to be aware of? Anything unusual, new, pro or con?
There were actually 2 allocations provided for in the budget to address fire protection related costs for the city. One was a line item in the Department of General Services budget for $496,000 that specifically was identified for fire protection. The second was a line item in the DCED budget that would represent the balance to raise the fire protection allocation to $5 million.
Thank you.
That's a very positive thing.
Yes.
Yes, we were very pleased to hear that news.
Right. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
You're welcome, sir.
We'll turn to member comment. Council President Williams?
No, I don't. Thank you.
Mr. Lady? Mr. Hill? Mr. Phillip? No comment. All right, we'll turn to public comment then. Members of the public?
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Nevin Midland, resident of the city. I would like to suggest that there needs to be a change in the way in which we're approaching the comprehensive planning. The future of this city economically is highly dependent on the way in which the economic and comprehensive plans are put together and what is put in place. It's not simply a question, as you know, of trying to eliminate the debt. There's also the need for a long-term plan on how we end up, what we end up being and how we end up moving forward as to whether or not we're able to attract people to the community and the kind of community that this is. If that isn't in line with the needs of the future, and if that future, as it's presented, isn't in line with the plan for the discharge of the debt, you've got dissidents that can't function. And a comprehensive plan is inherently a very democratic process. It needs to be brought out into the open, and it frankly needs to start with the neighborhoods. There are methodologies for this, and I think that that's something that needs to be completely rethought and brought out and started in a different fashion than apparently is now going on. So my suggestion is that you rethink what you're doing on that, because otherwise there is the potential for dissonance and controversy, none of which I expect that you want, and I don't think that the citizens of the community particularly want. But on the other hand, I have to tell you that the future of this city is very near and dear to the people of the community, and they're not going to simply turn it over to a very small select group of people to decide what the future of this community is going to be. They want to have a say in it. That has been very clear from all the conversations that I've been having. So just a thought for you to begin to cogitate on as we move forward in the near term. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Midland. I would say that I know the mayor has appointed a steering committee that will be engaged in that process, and it's my understanding that's a fairly broad-based committee, but recognizing your comments, the comprehensive plan does need to be a community-based type of process. The work that's in place now is simply laying the groundwork for that process as it begins to move forward. Any other comments from the public? All right, hearing none, thank everybody, and we call this meeting adjourned.